So this brings us to the FlexCast Management Architecture, FMA. So why is FMA better? We're going to talk about that differently. We're going to talk about that extensively. But let's take a look at, well, what is FMA? So the FlexCast Management Architecture, or FMA, is a XenDesktop architecture by definition. That's where it came from. It is built to deliver apps and desktops, and it can deliver apps and desktops in several different ways. It can deliver those apps via XenApp, and it can deliver desktops via XenApp, but it can also deliver apps using VM-hosted apps. So it's the same concept as with XenApp, but instead of having a server operating system that you're delivering that application from, now you have a desktop operating system that you're delivering that application from, with one caveat. When you're delivering an application from a VM-hosted desktop, it's a one-to-one connection between that app and the user. So with XenApp, you have one server, you put the application on it, and then you can have hundreds of users connect to that one server. If you're publishing an application from a desktop operating system, let's say like Windows XP or Windows 7, then if you need 100 users to connect to that application, then you would have to publish that VM 100 times, and it would be a one-to-one connection. That might be a disadvantage in your mind. In my mind, it's, well, it allows me to move those applications that are on Windows XP or Windows 7 that aren't very friendly with multi-user operating systems, that don't want to work on a server operating system, that I don't want to publish inside of a desktop. I still want to publish it as an application, but I want to publish it off of Windows 7 or Windows XP. This gives me the opportunity of supporting that application now without having to kind of finagle with it on a server operating system. So FlexCast gives you a lot of that flexibility of hosting the apps either on a Windows server operating system, Windows desktop operating system. You can deliver the desktops either as a VDI, or you can deliver it as shared hosted from something like XenApp. So it gives you a lot of that flexibility. FlexCast also gives you the ability to do local execution with Citrix's XenClient. So XenClient is a client-side hypervisor that you can install typically on laptops, but there's nothing that would prevent you from installing it on a desktop, for example. So it brings the advantages that server virtualization has to servers to the desktop and laptops. Now you can put one single hypervisor on your laptops and your desktop and deliver one virtual machine image to all of those, regardless of the hardware that's beneath them. So it abstracts the hardware at the desktop and laptop side. And it also gives you centralized management of that VM image. So if you want to update that VM image, it has a synchronizer that can do an out-of-band synchronization of those bits, so you're not pushing that entire image down again. You also have the ability with FlexCast to get access to something called remote PC access. So the users will still go to the same web interface or storefront that you have. And what happens then is, let's say they have their physical desktop at work that they want to get access to. Today, they're probably getting access to it through a VPN, through something like a go to my PC or some other remoting technology. In order for you to centralize that as well and give them the benefit of the ICA protocol, which is going to give them a better user experience, you can install components of XenDesktop on their physical desktop or laptop or whatever it is, and have ICA access to that remote PC. Very good for organizations that want to give users access remotely to their PCs but might not be ready for VDI or even XenApp or anything like that. You might be able to get away with remote PC access. Gives you a lot of the benefits. You still have the problem of management, but again, you're tackling it one step at a time. Now, the other important thing with FMA is that it has that separation of roles that we were talking about. So the XenDesktop controller here is not the infrastructure that you would install on every XenApp server. That's the advantage that you have. The components, the software that you install on a XenDesktop controller will be those bits that you need for this to act as a controller for XenApp, for XenDesktop, for remote PC access, etc. Now, what you end up installing on your VDIs, what you end up installing on your XenApp servers, on the local or the remote PC access, is a component called VDA. So the VDA is that piece of software that you now install on either the desktop, the server, the remote PC, and the controller will kind of guide the user based on what they select. It will route them to the right resource. So if you have a user that came in through your storefront that wants access to VDI, the VDA is installed on that VDI, the controller is aware because the VDA is registered with it. If it's available, then it's going to make that connection for the user. If the user is trying to get to their remote PC, the VDA is installed on that remote PC, the controller is going to guide them to their remote PC in the office, and so on and so forth. So it's that flexibility that the FlexCast management architecture brings to the table that necessitates that convergence between XenApp and XenDesktop.